So I'm importing a chest plate, which is basically of an Iron Man MK50. Guys, if you want to get that suit, it's a well designed, amazing suit which was from the Avengers Infinity War. It's the nano suit, MK50. Okay, so I have imported the chest plate here. So what I do is I would attach it, and the minute I click attach, you can see all this gear icons. So you could just move it and place it. It gets snapped onto each gear, so you could basically place it anywhere you want. So now this is a chest plate, so I'm just gonna keep it on the chest. So there you go, the chest plate is actually on it. So I'm gonna modify it a bit. You can see the 3 sections over here, which is transform, rotation and scale. Just like any other 3D software, it is exactly what it does. So I'm going to increase the size. Now I've got the uniform scale ticked over here, or crossed. So if I'm going to change this to around 130, all 3 is going to change, and the size will definitely increase. So when the buttons over here that you see, that's where I've got, these are the buttons for the transformation, rotation and the scaling, which you can do manually. So when you click on the object or the model file, and then you click this button, you get the okay, this is another glitch, guys, by the way. You click it and sometimes it just doesn't come and it disappears, as you just saw. Like when I move my cursor, it disappeared, but it happens only randomly, so it's a small glitch which they can probably fix. So I can adjust this as and how I want in terms of position. So I'm gonna push it all the way in. Okay, this would be probably the better position. Okay, now another thing I could do is rotate it, just so that, you know, it fits in a bit more better. Okay, so I'm just going to rotate that, and that's perfect. It's right there. So if I want to do any other changes to this, basically I've got a uniform scale here button. So if I click that, what happens is, no matter where I click it, I just need to click it and drag it using the left mouse button. So if I drag it, I can make it however big and small I want. It just basically does the same scaling function over here, but you have more control over it. And if I want to change the color of this thing, the minute I click it, you see on the right side over here in the property grid, you have the basic features over here, or the basic changes. You have the option here to mirror, but obviously I don't need it to be mirrored over here. Only when I use something for the arms or for the legs, it would help me in mirroring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color for now. So I'm just going to click over here, the 3 dots here, and you get to choose whatever color you want, and the color is there. Now another very useful feature that I would prefer using all the time, most of the time actually, is the transparency for this one, because sometimes I do not get the actual I just don't get the actual, what do you say, the view to see how far it is from my body. So if I'm going to use the key, if I'm going to use this to go more further in, I'm not exactly sure if it's touching in properly or not. So you can see here, over here it's not touching, but over here at the top it's already gone inside my body. So what really helps is the transparency mode. So you just click the object here and change the opacity. It's at 1 now, just change it to 0.50 and it'll make it transparent. This really helps in you know, to have a much better view. It also shows you the gap between your body and the chest, the file, so it really helps in that aspect. It's pretty much good actually. So I'm just going to change that back to 1 again. And obviously these colors, what you see here, red, green, blue, alpha, it's exactly the same what you see in the other softwares as well. Now if I change the green value to like around 255, it's just going to change to green. And if I increase the blue as well, it's just going to be a mix of green and blue. And yeah, so in this basically you need red or whatnot, so I'm just going to choose that. Now an important sorry guys, an important feature that I would really love doing is right click, go to scale. You've got the uniform scaling, which I just showed you some time back. You got the non-uniform, you got the shrink fit, and you got the free-form deformation. I still haven't figured out what the shrink fit is. I just need to play around it a bit. The free-form deformation is really useful, and that is what most of you will end up using end of the day, because for example, some of these model files cannot be sorted just by uniform scaling. You would definitely need to modify maybe the top area or just the bottom area or something like that. So what I would do is, like for example, if I need this area, the one which is closer to the neck, if I just need this area to rise up a bit, but I want this area to stay in the same place as it is, I'm just going to click this line over here and I'm just going to pull that guy up. So you see what happens over there. Now of course it affects the nearby areas as well, but it really helps in certain aspects. Like for example, there's a lot of space over here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click here, this area, and I'm just going to push that in a bit. So what happens, yeah, so if I push that in a bit, it really helps in reducing that area. Same thing over here as well, just going to reduce it a bit. So in that way you will be able to increase and decrease, or at least, you know, make it almost as accurate, almost not completely accurate, but almost as accurate to your body measurements. It really helps, and it's a pretty good software. Now, oh yeah, I completely forgot, I was actually talking about the undo and the redo options. Okay, so I've got the undo and redo here as well. So let's see now. Let me just try to do some undo here. The shortcut, the shortcut key for the undo is Ctrl Z, obviously. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click that and Ctrl Z. Okay, in this particular scenario it worked perfectly, there was no problem whatsoever, but sometimes I do face issues when I try to do undo. It kind of it kind of twists or skews the model itself, or this particular file itself, and no matter what I do, it just doesn't get fixed. The Ctrl Z is what gets that part. I mean, the Ctrl Z is what spoils it for some reason. I don't know. Now it's working perfectly, but sometimes it doesn't, so I guess that's random as well. Another feature, okay, I've gone through all this. Group selection. Now this is very useful. Now if you want to group multiple pieces, like for example, now if I'm going to import, let's say, okay, I'm going to import the chest plate and the, no, not this, just the chest and chest plate. Okay, I'm just going to delete the current file and I'm just going to import the, oh, you know what, I think the foot would be more easier to, because the foot has more pieces in it. So I think, yeah, I guess I'll use a foot. Leg, let's go to the boot with no bottom, boot front and boot back. Okay, I'm going to import it together. Yep, import it as a group. Let's say foot.